Good morning, Board of Directors. Today's presentation is to show you how Edmodo can increase learning for students and increase productivity and effectiveness of instruction by preparing students for the world of work in the 21st century. Edmodo is a multi-dimensional application that can be used to address 21st century learning and teaching. It can be used for educational social networking to connect students and teachers beyond the brick and mortar walls of the traditional school building. Learning can be blended between face-to-face and virtual learning spaces. The classroom can be flipped by utilization of the online capabilities to create instruction that can be viewed anywhere internet access is available, making instructional time available outside of school time. For instance, with Edmodo, students can be involved in learning a new concept at home after hours, and when they come to the classroom ready to work on the concept with questions in hand. The learning process is no longer bound by time and space when utilizing Edmodo flip features in the classroom. In other words, instruction is at home and homework is done at school. With Edmodo application collaboration, learning can be utilized by the sharing of information and files in virtual time. Edmodo can even be linked to Google Docs. Students are able to connect and collaborate in safe learning environments. The Edmodo environment looks and feels like Facebook, which the student and teachers can identify with, and Edmodo is easy for them to use. Edmodo has built-in networking, learning management features, and linked apps for individualized learning. The Partnership for 21st Century Skills has identified this framework for building successful learners today and in the future. Within the context of core knowledge instruction, students must also learn the essential skills for success in today's world, such as critical thinking, problem solving, communication, and collaboration. Edmodo is a learning platform that can build successful learners through networking, problem solving, and collaborative environments. In addition to addressing the 21st century skills, Edmodo is the application that can seamlessly bring together other tools for 21st century teaching and learning needed to compete in the global economy of today and tomorrow. Edmodo is the bridge to creating learning any place, anytime, connecting the world we live and work in. Edmodo links Google Docs for real-time collaboration of files. Edmodo is a perfect platform to succeed in successful teaching and learning of the 4 C's of the 21st century skill development. Lessons can be designed for individual student needs based upon learning management feature included in Edmodo. The need to create individualized lessons is especially important for the intervention requirements for tertiary learning. The blended learning and the flipped classroom features can be utilized effectively with Edmodo. Edmodo is a personalized learning network that keeps teachers and students connected in real time by RSS feeds that notify teachers of activity on the network. Edmodo links easily to Web 2.0 tools to be used in the learning process as identified by the revised Bloom's taxonomy for learning in the 21st century. Edmodo is a valuable learning network for teachers to share resources and learn from each other. The Edmodo choice over the other educational network platforms was because of its ability to link to the other platforms and its familiar look and feel to that of Facebook. Due to the familiarity of Facebook, teachers and students alike understand the layout and the concept of how to use Edmodo. Teachers can connect beyond the classroom walls and keep in contact without barriers of time and space. This is particularly important when the teacher has to be away from the classroom. The teacher may still be in contact with the students online or through the mobile app. The mobility feature of Edmodo allows teachers to answer questions for students when either the teacher or the student are outside of the classroom, and learning can take place anytime, anywhere. Edmodo was introduced in 2008, and in 2009 the grading system was added, which is a learning management system. 2010 the mobile capability added. 2011 Edmodo made the top 10 list of teacher resources and became uh, commercialized by linking with investors. As of today, Edmodo reaches 17 million, has 17 million users. The S curve is a measure that is used to evaluate the success of an innovation. The curve for Edmodo reflects a successful diffusion as at this time there are 17 million users, which has reached critical mass in the general public. Our district has not adopted the innovation at this point. Critical mass is reached when enough adopters have adopted an innovation to make it self-sustaining. New innovations need champions who are the promoters of the innovation. The Edmodo technology is a valuable tool for implementing the best practices for 21st century learners and is needed in our district. The board of directors are needed as champions of this innovation. Edmodo should be implemented in this district by application for district account for Edmodo. The diffusion of Edmodo would bring together tools for best practices for 21st century learning and teaching. A champion of an innovation is one who believes in the innovation and promotes the innovation because of a perceived usefulness of the innovation. The board of directors is being called upon to be the champions of the Edmodo platform. The champions need change agents who are the link between the champions and the critical mass. In order for the innovation to be successfully diffused, the innovation will need these change agents. They are the communicators between the champions and the critical mass. In this setting, the change agents would be the lead teachers and technology teachers. Some teachers in our district are using Edmodo and they are the early adopters and they would be a valuable resource. These early adopters could also be the change agents if they are respected by peers and good communicators and possess good leadership skills. In the educational setting, the change agent provides a link to resources to successfully deploy the innovation. According to Rogers, the role of the change agent involves seven steps to sustaining an innovation. Those 7 steps are, first of all, step number 1 is to identify the need of the innovation. Step number 2, to build an information exchange. 3, to diagnose problems. 4, to create an intent to adopt in the adopters. 5, to move the intent to action. Number 6, to prevent discontinuance. And that would be to make sure the adopters are well trained and have the required resources. And, um, and then 7, to achieve independence for the adopters. This diagram depicts the steps to the adoption process, so we are in the 3rd step. According to Rogers, the author of Innovation Diffusion, these steps are based upon what has been shown in this presentation and supported by research of successful innovations and the feedback of early adopters which have been using Edmodo in our district. We have set the agenda, step 1, and the needs of the 21st century learner can be matched by the diffusion of Edmodo, which is step 2. During step 3, the barriers to the diffusion of this innovation must be considered. The barriers are usually people barriers, which are psychologically based upon the perceptions of the adopter's belief about the successful of implementing the innovation. The laggards to adoption may pose as barriers in that they are slow to adopt and may impede the reaching of the critical mass in the organization. However, the ongoing communication and interaction with the change agents can give the laggards the needed training and the confidence to adopt Edmodo. Teachers must be highly trained with ongoing training through workshops and mentoring from change agents. According to Rogers, the confident user can sell the innovation to the critical mass. In the case of educational setting, the faculty and the student body are the critical mass to be reached. Within the district, the change agents are the early adopters linking their knowledge to the early majority and then to the late majority adopters. The adoption builds momentum as the adopters become proficient with the technology and are part of the adoption process. Then they become the new change agents sustaining the innovation. The intended consequences are not limited to, but would include the streamlining of networking by providing uniform platform. The 21st century skill that would develop by using Edmodo would be ongoing learning and connections across a global learning environment. Learning would reach across the boundaries of the brick and mortar school. Teacher and students have the ability to connect and learn anywhere, anytime. Edmodo provides parent links, creating a transparency and a connection to parent input. Edmodo provides capability to build individualized instruction based upon data. Increased 21st century teaching and learning, there are some unintended consequences, which would be some inappropriate communication, which could be monitored and flagged for approval by the teacher before sent. Some adopters lack technical resources, such as internet connections at home. Teachers would have to be aware of who does not have access away from school and make accommodations. Additional unintended consequences to be addressed are privacy issues, which can be solved by adjusting settings in Edmodo. Reduced face-to-face communication skills can be addressed by a balance between face-to-face and online learning. Information overload is another setting issue which can be solved by restriction of notification. A teacher does not have to be notified of every action if students are trained to properly use networking for educational purposes. The intended consequences far outweigh the unintended consequences which may be addressed and minimized. Outside the walls of education and the world connects through social media. It is how society works and plays in the 21st century. Edmodo is all about building professional learning communities to connect learners by a social network within the educational setting. Teaching and learning in the 21st century has many components for best practices in creating learning environments. In addition to being a social network, Edmodo is a learning management system, a blended learning platform, and a blended learning platform. Choosing Edmodo was due to the user-friendly features, the familiarity of the platform, in that it resembles Facebook. Additionally, the features allow linking to the tools needed for 21st century teaching and learning. Edmodo has reached the critical mass outside of our organization. We would like to reach the critical mass within our district. Please champion this invaluable resource and move our district forward. Edmodo overwhelmingly makes the transition to 21st century learning seamless and is cost effective at no cost to educational organizations.